Okay, so today we're going deep on how seriously complex applications are built,
Okay.
and how to think about that, how to understand that.
Mm.
We're calling this our deep dive into Apex enterprise patterns, domain and selector layers from Salesforce.
Okay.
This is a training module that Salesforce offers, and when I say Apex, that's the programming language that's used to build applications, a lot of business applications on the Salesforce platform.
Right. Yeah.
You might think to yourself, well, I'm not a programmer. Why do I care about this?
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot to be learned from understanding these patterns, even if you never write a line of code in your life.
I agree. I think that, as a programmer, you pick up these principles and these patterns.
Right.
And they can be really helpful in just kind of understanding how complex systems are built. And even if you're not a programmer,
Totally.
I think there's a lot of value in understanding these principles.
So one thing that kind of blew my mind when I was looking at this training module is that it's worth like 1,200 points,
Oh, wow.
which is a lot of points in the Salesforce world.
That is a lot of points.
What does that tell you about, about this particular piece of training? What makes it so valuable?
So those points are a big deal in the Salesforce ecosystem. They represent recognized expertise and skill, and earning those 1,200 points. It's a signal to employers and the Salesforce community that, you've really dedicated the time and energy to learning these concepts.
Right. So if you're going out there looking for, someone to build an application for you on the Salesforce platform and they've got this training module under their belt,
Absolutely.
you know that they are legit.
Exactly. It's like, getting a certification from Salesforce themselves saying that you know this stuff and that you can apply it.
And it's not just about code, is it? It seems like it covers a lot of other areas, too.
You're right. It's not just about code. The skills that it covers are really wide-ranging.
Yeah.
It goes into query languages, business operations, business intelligence, programming languages. It really paints a picture of how to understand and work with data at a high level.
What does that tell you about what this module really gets into?
It tells me that this module is about understanding the entire data lifecycle.
Okay.
From how you access the data to how you analyze it to how you use it to make decisions.
Right.
And query languages are kind of like the foundation of that.
Okay.
They're the tools that you use to ask questions about your data.
And business intelligence.
Business intelligence. That's where you take the answers to those questions and you use them to make smart decisions.
With the insight.
The insights, exactly.
Helping you figure out what to do next.
Exactly. And then, programming languages are the tools that you use to put those insights into action.
Right, so you can automate things.
Build applications.
Make business operations more efficient.
Precisely.
And all of this seems to be focused on the Salesforce platform specifically. So we're not just talking about some generic programming concepts. We're talking about core principles that are applied to a specific platform.
Right. You hit the nail on the head.
Right.
This module focuses on building solid, scalable solutions that apply across the entire Salesforce platform. So it's about creating a system that can grow and adapt as your needs change.
And when you look at the structure of this module, there are 4 distinct sections. Learn domain layer principles, apply domain layer principles in Apex, learn selector layer principles, and apply selector layer principles in Apex.
Right.
What does that tell us about the approach to learning?
I think what's fascinating about the structure is that it emphasizes both theory and practice.
Okay.
You're not just passively absorbing information. You're learning the why behind these patterns.
Okay.
And then immediately diving into the how by applying them in Apex.
Right. So they really want you to get hands-on with it.
Absolutely. Salesforce is all about hands-on learning.
And I even notice sprinkled throughout the material, there are these calls to action, like see a live demo, learn how Salesforce customers build their AI enterprise, dive into Salesforce platform, try Salesforce platform today.
Right.
They really want you to get in there and experience it.
Absolutely.
It's not just about the theory, it's about actually doing it.
Exactly. I think that reflects Salesforce's philosophy.
Right.
That you learn best by doing.
So we've established that this module is a big deal.
Yes.
It covers a lot of ground. It's about way more than just coding. But let's go back to these domain and selector layers.
Oh,
Can you break those down for someone who might not be a developer?
Sure. So imagine you're building a house, right?
Okay.
The domain layer is like the foundation and the framework of the house.
Okay.
It defines what the house is, its core functions. The selector layer, on the other hand, acts like the plumbing and the electrical systems.
Right.
Efficiently fetching and delivering the resources the house needs to operate.
Which are data, in this case, I imagine.
Exactly. Data is the lifeblood of any application.
Right.
And the selector layer makes sure that the right data is available.
So these layers are about bringing order and structure to the code.
Exactly. Without these layers, your code can become a tangled mess.
Right. I think developers call it spaghetti code, right?
Exactly, spaghetti code. It's hard to understand. It's difficult to maintain. And it's nearly impossible to scale.
Yeah, so you end up with this big ball of mud that nobody knows how to untangle.
Right. And that's why these layers are so important.
So it's like having a well-organized house.
Yes.
Where everything has its place.
Precisely.
You don't want to be digging through a jumbled mess every time you need something.
Exactly. You want to be able to find what you need quickly and easily.
And that's why this module is so valuable, even for non-programmers.
I agree.
Understanding these concepts helps you communicate more effectively with developers.
Absolutely.
Understand the potential of the platform, and just appreciate the complexity behind seemingly simple applications.
Exactly. We use software every day.
Right.
And it's easy to take it for granted.
Right.
But there's a lot of thought and complexity that goes into building.
So much complexity.
Even the simplest applications.
And this has really opened my eyes to what goes on behind the scenes.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's fascinating.
It is. And, that understanding, that ability to see the structure beneath the surface is incredibly valuable. It's like learning to appreciate the architecture of a building.
Right.
Even if you're not the one designing it.
So what can our listeners take away from this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that it's about more than just coding. This deep dive gives you a glimpse into the language of business applications. Understanding its structure and principles allows you to better communicate with developers.
Okay.
Grasp the potential of the platform.
Right.
Even if you never write a line of code yourself.
It's about appreciating the complexity.
Yes.
And the elegance of well-designed software.
Absolutely.
And understanding how those principles can be applied to other areas of your work and life.
Exactly. These principles of structure and organization and efficiency, they're applicable in so many different contexts.
Absolutely. And, I think about it like, even if you're building a house of cards,
right,
you need to understand the principles of balance and structure in order for it to stand up.
Exactly.
And so, even if you're not building a skyscraper, understanding those principles is still valuable.
Absolutely. And it can even be fun.
Yeah, totally.
To see how those principles are applied in different domains.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point to end on, I think.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.
See you then.
Okay, bye-bye.